This is Calcat the Calcatster, and you are watching the post-mortem on Star Trek Legacy, Starship Legacy. Even though, yeah, we've done the making of stuff, and that's all done, and the zombie story arc that we didn't intend to do a finish to, but yeah, but we kind of had to. A number of things happened in the Star Trek universe for real that negated our fan film, sort of, as well as some other changes to the other timelines and stories. It's been an interesting ride, but yeah, the studio was struck, and we have to go elsewhere and find another place to do the studio the show. But yeah, so, but yeah, no, that's that. So it's canceled. They is one of the executive producers, the showrunner. You know, what are you gonna do? So yeah, we don't get much. We don't get any monetization on YouTube making fan films. So yeah, we didn't. We will continue in the future somewhere else, the studio. It'll happen in the future. But this story arc, this legacy story arc, it would be really cool if in the future they start up the Star Trek stuff again and the Transformer ones again and all that. But not here. So yeah. It seems like it was a temporary return and respite to the old studios, and that it ended. So, so we're so I didn't want to have just a story that came to an end and then have them say like, oh, put that in there somehow and have all that happen and then have the making of thing be dour. So so I was like, I'm not going to mention it. I'm just gonna do making of. It's gonna be quick for the movie. And we watched the movie. I watched it last night, and then I made a few corrections, and then I released the final movie, final zombie story movie, which really wasn't meant to be a series finale. It was meant to be a season finale. But you can kind of tell from looking at it that they clearly had to end the whole arc like in 2 hours, and that's what they did. Did an amazing job in a day. I filmed that thing in a day, and put it together, just using elements of the other stuff that I was going to do. And there's things I couldn't do because it wouldn't be 3 hours long. There was going to be more of the. There was going to be a whole arc backstory thing with Mariner and Lower Decks. There was going to be the which got shrunk down to just 2371 Picard visits the Voyager. That got shrunk all the way down to that, and had them in an ethereal realm. Some of the Voyager guys show up, but really that was supposed to be extended. There was supposed to be a gag in there where they were going to come across young Beckett Mariner and Wesley Crusher and Cito Jaxa and some of the and Tom Paris is going to show up later, or Nick Locarno is going to show up later, and they're going to be like, oh, young Beckett Mariner, you're 10. Why are you trying to hang out with the Academy cadets? You're 10. They're 18, 19. You shouldn't do that. There's going to be a scene where the parents get mad and chase them off. That ended up not happening. So they ended up not doing that scene. When said for a similar idea scene, dealing with the Marshall Sportiest story arc that was also going to be in there, in which we find out that the Cal Hazel character has an illegitimate child, and then it's Kitty Key, a rumor, and that because he was with one of the instructor ladies way back in the day. Well, actually, technically, they were both not instructors at the time. They were both junior belts at the time. So, but yes, they were both junior, but they weren't black belts yet. So it doesn't count because it was part of the no dating rule that they put into effect. So it was going to be a joke on that, and there was going to be that. There were whole bits of the story arc that was going to be like, it would have been in a whole other season, really, of stuff. The zombies were going to be just defeated off camera, and you wouldn't see it. but Mark's cards and I decided, like, no, you kind of have to solve that. You made it so convoluted, you kind of have to solve it. So we got to go back and solve it. Okay, can we do that in 90 minutes and then add on some other stuff? So throughout there's other stuff, and during the Star Trek thing, Milieu, some of the stories. Well, Lower Decks ended, and Prodigy is probably not going to get a third season, and so that other stuff happened over the year, a little bit before the year. And then they unceremoniously announced, the J.J. Abrams Trek movies have stopped. They're not doing those anymore. No more Chris Pine movies. They can't afford them anymore, so due to those. So I was all, okay, well, I was going to do something with that, too. I was going to have a story where we see the crew of the J.J. Abrams Enterprise A. And that did end up in the movie. The Enterprise A, Kirk shows up from the other timeline, and he's like, V'ger destroyed the Federation. It showed up, and because he was incompetent, because it was too early, and so was he, because he was just a lieutenant and he was in command of the Enterprise already. He didn't know what to do, so V'ger obliterated the Federation in his timeline. He destroyed it, thus ending the Abrams timeline. So, anyway, so that's in there. That's in the story. There was also the Jack Crusher story arc thing. That was sort of the backstory thing. That ended up in the movie, where it was revealed that the Ginoli character is just Jack Crusher from born in 2366 while Dr. Crusher was at the Academy, at the Starfleet Medical, which they should have done with the actor Ed Speleers in the Picard show. They should have said, the reason that he's 35 clearly and not 20, he really, really looked 35 and not 20. It's not one of those like, Luke Perry at 26 can play an 18-year-old. No, he looked 35. He looked quite a bit older. So they should have just said, no, he was kept a secret during the Next Generation. They addressed that in here, which is parallel to that TMS Marshall Sportist's Cal Hazel arc. There was no love child that I know of. I don't think so. but yeah, and then there was the Hope arc. She was actually really secretly the girl, the love child. They set up the whole that was going to be something else. They was going to reveal that. I had to blatantly have the Cal Hazel character meet up with his ex-lover in the realm so that they just get that over with. So that happens, and the daughter shows up and is like grossed out. She's like, "Oh my God, really? Ah!" And it's like, and then the other one is grossed out because apparently there were two. And then there's like a parallel because the Abra and Cadabra show up as people in it. And Cadabra passed away. It was a cat. But in this other universe, because it's a multiverse going on, they're people in that universe. Like the parallel daughters. And then we have the parallel sisters, the Amanda and Amanda the R and Marissa the R, who show up. Marissa's been pretending to be Arlene Benton during Warp Course, and Ginoli, who is Picard's son, is pretending to be Picard's son. Also apparently it was revealed during Warp Course that Ginoli was also the son of Sarah Ginoli, the original Starcrackers lady, who in the story is played by Kate Tier Hertzman. But does it work? Because does Kate Tier Hertzman have a son in real life? Yes, she does have a son. However, he would be in his early 20s. Just be barely 20. And it wouldn't work, but in this universe it does because they're spoofing the Ed Speleers thing with a big. Also, the timeline was decided on pretty simply to be just before the events of the Brazil trip story and the party trip story, and that just before that. So it's 10 years later when this story, zombie story, starts. It's 10 years later, and the timeline is coming up, and I mentioned the commentary of the episode reviews, this brief little commentary thing. The time loop makes sense because she's the catalyst, she's the genie, she's the character that wishes for a party to have happened that didn't, and she's the song that invents itself, because last year when she thought there was a party and then that started all those chain of events in her universe, 2413 to 2414. This was the echo of this story that she was seeing, thinking that it hadn't happened yet. So so yeah, it's a time warp. It's a time loop. So so the anti-time bad guys realized that and they did that. But yeah, so there was no party because they erased it from time. It did not happen. There was play, but there was no after party. That was actually kind of brilliant. Okay, yeah, so the universe corrected itself, and she just remembers a party that didn't happen, where Calicat had a party, didn't invite her. 50th birthday party, I guess. 54th then, but now 55th. Yeah, so that's hilarious. There was no party, and there will be no party tomorrow, the 55th either. I don't think so. But yeah, there's although this time around, this Christmas season, we're in both of the plays, so technically, well, she isn't, but I am, so she could be invited to the cast party. So there you go. Yours is correct. The LARPing crew early on, the LARPing crew is apparently behind this. The various Kirk zombie people. If you go back to the episode where they were all Kirks in when they go to the unnamed convention, which was GalaxyCon 2024. When they go to the unnamed convention, a bunch of those Kirks became the Kirk zombies. And they later on decided to go back in time, hijack the Zavolvida, and then they got wrapped up in the whole story arc of the 80s because they liked it, and they latched onto the Brady Bunch, and they lapsed onto the argument between Will Wheaton and Captain Kirk back in that time period as well. And so they were like, oh yeah, so that hooked up. The Zavolvida ship then goes through back and forth through time. It reappears on that one planet where we find the lady that was left there by Joshua Braun, who shouldn't be there because he died, but there's a holographic version of him running around, just like there's a holographic version of the Elysian, the Libby running around as well. And she's doing trouble things in the Warp Core universe, which is why they went to the Warp Core universe. And all this season has also included Vod Duick, who the role-playing game that did exist this year, and Vanessa Duick, who is the inspiration of the character, gave permission to use that character, just as long as she was still conservative and wasn't crazy and didn't do anything kinky and weird. Nothing kinky. Well, Wesley did, but of course he did. But yeah, so the visitors are doing their thing. They had Kirk. They pulled the other Kirk out of the thing after V'ger destroyed the Federation. And the anti-time zombie thing starts in the future and goes back to the past, because that's what it does. And it goes all through the multiverse. So we know the Warp Core thing, multiverse. When you look at this whole thing, story arc this season, the 2403 saga, you realize, oh, it's a Elseworld. Because we've written ourselves into a corner by jumping ahead a decade. So we're like, oh, no, it's still ahead a decade. It would have to be for this one. But yeah, there was no way to fix it other than doing that. And then the zombie stuff and then the other stuff. Making it originally a trilogy and then going, okay, they just solve it off camera wasn't enough and wanted to solve it. So Mark Sorensen came up with a way to do that. Mainly they shoot them, maybe they kill the zombies. They are sentient though, and they keep regenerating. And they don't try to cure them, because that was decided that was like they don't have to. But they do stop them. They go into the anti-time period to the future version of the thing. And with great talent, given something to do. This one, unlike in the end of Discovery. And they're able to stop the bad guys using unlikely heroes, who is the cameo guy, the Max Grodacek ROM character. It's not actually Max Grodacek, it's just me doing a voice. And he shows up, they use ROM. At one point, they also have a scene which is hilarious, in which the the zombie is trying to attack him, saying brains, brains, and then it walks away, and then it's like, it's kind of mean, but yeah, I don't know why the zombie walked away. Didn't want me anymore. And Bashir, old Bashir is there, but not Kira. You know. And Bashir says there wasn't enough time to do the Kira thing. I didn't want to do the Kira thing again. The Kira and Bashir and Miles thing again. And we've already done that. So it's just Bashir, and he goes like, "Do I have to spell it out for you?" Yeah. They don't have a brain. Well, he does have a brain, obviously, but he was taking special meds to make himself smart during Deep Space Nine. They kind of hinted at in his Lower Decks appearance. But yeah, so here we have a story that there just was nothing more to do with it. I didn't want to have it just end without a finale. I didn't want to do like a thing with I could have done something completely different. And no, let's do this story. Let's 90 minutes about, a little over 90 minutes about that. And sprinkled throughout is the whole kind of solving it all. There was no script. You could kind of tell with the finale. It was fine though. It worked. It had very, very few issues. Don't normally do it with no script. You should always have a script or an outline or something. But yeah, we knew the zombies were going to do. We knew how they were going to go there. It was like the Winter Twins thing. Think about ending first. We thought of the ending first. The zombies disappearing. We thought of the part where we're kind of ripping off some of the Romero era stuff by having having Alexander Zombie meet up with a Wilson Uhura zombie, which was funny. It's the doctor from Starcrackers. Different one than the other Space Hound. But yeah, because that was Sabrina Willis, a different character. Yeah, and so yeah, and at the end they let him have his girlfriend back. The zombie Kira returns, who is actually playing the Hannah character from the other previous episode, the 13th episode of Legacy. This is the 14th, and she shows up as she's supposed to be the zombie Kira, and she shows up the bored Kira, and she bored Kestra. She shows up and she goes like, "That's against my better judgment, but very well. I'm an old softie," and she like zaps her out of the artifact so she can be with Alexander. Also, we have an odd scene that I thought of first. Didn't film until last. The one where they do the dance lesson. It's funny. That's in there. Duik and Cal. No, they didn't bang. No, they didn't bang. There was a dance party that Cal Hazel that I went to at the actual Duik finale dance party, and there was a lot of crazy dancing, a lot of freaky dancing, but nobody did anything untoward at all. But there was a lot of freaky dancing. But yeah, so anyway, so yeah, that was a party that Amanda was also not invited to. But a lot of parties she wasn't invited. She's Nask. She lives in Oakley. It's kind of far from here. She doesn't have a car, and I don't have a car anymore either. I stopped driving. Yeah, I didn't want to do that anymore. So yeah, it's kind of stuck in the whatever goes, whatever, you know. Yeah, so there's other events going on there, kind of proclivities that say like, similarly, let's cancel the show, but let's do a finale. We did a finale, and yeah, there's nothing to see in the other room really. But we did keep most of the sets, so they are in boxes, in very makeshift boxes to transport the individual set flats to somewhere else. Because the channel is the Chimera channel. The other channels are doing all right, but the Chimera channel, not so much. People are not liking and subscribing. But we kept doing it anyway. Sort of like on the other channel, we were like, we did a Carter movie, and no one is watching that. I think the only people that have watched that are me. Watched it. I liked the idea of doing a Transformers Carter spinoff. I had even repainted the figures for a possible sequel, but never wrote a sequel. I wanted to make it good, so I didn't want to just do a made-up thing, since the first Carter movie was kind of a remake of all the ones we'd already done. Where I give it a plot and a story where they were actually doing something. Kind of like that with this, too. I'm going to have this, and this one I always have an idea, and I just filmed it. Good. Yeah, so the I figured if we have to, it'll be somewhere else. We have to do something else, we'll see. The Starcracker sets that we got to film on. That's cool. We have to film in here, and this is the original set from the Studio One. This is not Studio 2 we were using. And Queen Bee Studios is gone. And it's not like it's a Dodge or something. We don't make any money. It's not really a 503. There's no contracts. There's no voice actors, really. We have permission to use people's names, like Kate Tara Hertzman and that kind of thing. And the adult Abby, and the other one. Although the other one is like, no, I'm married now. I can't use my character. She just briefly shows up and then kind of disappears again. But it's not a secret. It's not weird. It's just that she just didn't want to be in it anymore. It's okay. I didn't want to, even though the stories are. It's not that there are occasionally weird and suggestive things. That's not it. It's just that it didn't work out for that character to be there. They're all adults. There's no real role-playing game where they're actually doing. A bunch of people are in a room doing a story arc. Usually, it's all Cal Cat doing a bunch of stuff based on things he encounters, things I encounter out there, and then I do a story. Last summer was the leaving of the Duicks, and thus the inspiration for all the Duick stuff. And that's a different timeline if she's in it. They have different names for different aliens. The Q and the R is the Rumbly, and you also have the D for the Duick. The Duick is the D. Q is the question. That's what his name is. The question. Question. R is Rumbly. And then I thought it was very clever that there wasn't Amanda Rogers from the Next Generation. That's who she kind of inspires. I also like the Cedar Jackson stuff, and then there was an out with that, saying, well, Mariner couldn't have met Wesley and Cito anyway. Where's she getting this Wesley Cito Locarno story from? Because she couldn't have met them. If she did, she was a child. A child. Feature is a child. Evolving, learning, instinctively needing. This kind of ties in. But there was going to be a little more of that. But yeah. There was no feature in this episode. They just didn't plan it. You see a ship that kind of looks like a feature at one point. But yeah, so all the model ships are packed away, big boxes. Yeah, the set's struck. I don't want to show the struck set. It's just like, it doesn't look like a set anymore. It looks like just a room with stuff in it. I guess I could show it off though. Sure, why not? But yeah, we didn't get in trouble or anything. That isn't what happened. They ran out of money, basically, and ran out of story. And ran out of opportunity. I did have to rebuild and install a computer and all the software and programs to keep the thing going halfway through the year. A bunch of other stuff happened. I even know that. Yeah, through the year, and everything that works. But yeah, it was infeasible to do one of these things without having staff, without having the other stuff. Unlike the guy who does the Spectre fan films and keeps rewriting them, he also is just one guy. He doesn't pitch bend the characters. He probably should. I said that years ago. Is it pitch bend the voices a little bit in Photoshop, so at least you can tell that it's not just him going, "I'm the girl captain." Pitch bend says, "I'm the girl captain." Yeah, so at least it's a little bit like, okay, you're trying to be a girl. You sound like a drag queen, but that's okay. Oh my. Anyways, yeah, a little less. It was a little less gay this season. Oh, that was another thing. Early on, the LARPing troupe, the Brady Bunch episode, and all that. Yeah, that's another thing. Cindy, the person who plays Cindy Brady would hate that episode. Kind of made fun of her, but yeah, because she's conservative. But also it was going to be like a gay Kirk LARPing troupe, and then discovered, okay, they end up being the bad guys in the next episode after that. So are they saying they're bad because they're a gay troupe, or are they just bad? We had to kind of backtrack in there and have characters say, no, it doesn't matter that they're gender preference at all. One of the characters says that. I think Harno or one of the other ones. It doesn't matter their gender preference. They're just an evil LARPing troupe. So, now, so we backtracked on that. No, that's what's going on. And left up a little disclaimer thing saying, no, it's made up anyway. But yeah, I just should have called them a LARPing troupe and didn't want to go through the episode and reinstall that. We did re-upload a lot of those stories like right afterward in September, so that they'd cut out the lines where they'd said that. So yeah, so they just say a LARPing troupe. Yeah, there were some lines that were cut out so that it didn't establish their gender preference anyway. I think that's what we did. Yeah. So because that was like, I don't know why I did that other than it's a bunch of Kirks. They're probably not really gay Kirks anyway. They're probably just Kirks, and Kirk is in love with himself. So, yeah, if anything, he can be himself. There's only one other person that's in love with himself that much, and that's Wesley Crusher. And yeah, he gets in a Wesley three-way. What's funny about that is there was a threesome joke in Zootopia 2 that just came out yesterday. Very similar, and the fans are gonna think, oh, did you just watch Zootopia 2 and you just put that in the movie because you had the last minute of it? No. Yet another example of great minds thinking alike. There's a threesome joke in that movie. There's a threesome one in this one. Not connected. We did not see a preview of Zootopia 2 at Disneyland. I know that we mentioned in Disneyland, it's not related, but we mentioned the Snow White movie sucked, the remake. We didn't get to see anything like that. What was it? It was Lilo and Stitch, the live action one. Maybe that's what it was. And we didn't see that, so did see Zootopia 2 yesterday at the Black Friday. Anyway, so did not cover Black Friday. So yeah, there'll be other Starship locations. It'll just be called something else. I'm sure there'll be other reviews when Starfleet Academy starts, and other things like that. New studio, that'd be cool. And then we'll see what happens. And but yeah, I guess I could show you the mess, the mess. Studio thing. Let's show the mess, and I'll go on from there. Yeah, let's see. This is kind of cleaned up a little bit. And then we'll walk over here. Or walk up to where there used to be the intercom and go, this is the Capitol. The intercom is right here. And you can see behind the port, the empty port where the intercom used to go. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So I'm going to come in here. Here's the Studio 2. What's left of it. Dun, 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 dun. dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. And somewhere down there are the pictures from the attraction. I don't need to show that. So here we have, there's all the sets and the toys from the closet. That's all emptied out. Every single one of those model ships is put away, and all these tubs are the model ships. And I don't know how we're gonna transport that. Here we have. Yeah, it's kind of a mess. The mess. There's other things packed away. There's everything from the middle packed away. It's amazing how much stuff is out. And so it looks like a hoarder's paradise. But no, it's just because it's all taken out of every cupboard and every cranny and everything. And I have not put away the piano. There's the TV. I'm not putting that away. I have the TV. There's the sets and they're bare because all tables are folded up. You can see the some of that. I don't know how we're gonna take that away. Some of that. There's all the boxes are mainly the toys that were up in the closet. They're down from the closet. There's nothing really secret back here. Well, one of the posters was covering up a giant rip in the wall. It's kind of funny. I'm not sure who put that there. It wasn't me. But yeah, there's oh, this dresser is from Transtech. This is the actual dresser from Transtech. From Trans, the first series. Trans, the grandfather of Transformers. The top wasn't red back then. It was sort of a different color. Now that is the same dresser. That is the dresser that Jetfire jumped off of. And of course broke his shoulder. The dresser the Lego ships flew off and gunship flew off. And yeah, there it is. It was in storage. Yeah, has it been here, pulled out of storage last year. Put in here. And yeah, so there's the dresser. Yeah, that's a trip. And there's the old cell phone. And the case is all melted. And it's gross. And I'm not sure why the case is melted. But that is a dresser from Trans to Transformers during the show. Trans. And cancelled. But you know they always come back for these things. It's usually a couple of months before they make another one anyways. Yeah. There you are. This is it. Yep. Channel will return. We'll do other stuff on there. We'll review other stuff. We usually review the Star Trek on the other one anyway. We usually do reviews on the other channel. Do fan films on this channel and the other channel. The Star Trek fan films. I liked the space-time and the warp core stuff. Do whatever you want with your fan film. Do whatever you want. Just saying, Oh, yeah. No. But live long and prosper. No, there's this Spock thing. Yeah.